All right, should be good to go here, getting started. I got all my ingredients prepped. Hello, Devil Dog, welcome. What's cooking? Specifically, Mapo Tofu. That's what we're going. That is what we'll be doing today. That's Mapo Tofu is just how you pronounce Mapo Tofu in Japanese. It's like a Chinese word because it's a Chinese dish, but just local pronunciation. So my Mapo Tofu, the way I make it, is a bit of a hybrid, actually, I guess. Because I've talked about this concept before. By the way, before I actually get into it, hello and welcome everyone. Neville, of course, you're the first person in chat here today. Anyone else who is already here, welcome. So yeah, cooking stream. I guess before we get into the whole specifics of what I'm doing, why don't we talk about the concept of me cooking here again? For those not aware, I used to cook. It was my job for about 8 years. I kind of. Oh hey, Razira, how you doing? Good to see you here. Right, yeah, I remember we were talking about we were in someone's car and you went actually you've like gone to actual culinary school and shit. So I'm like more ad hoc. I just worked like in restaurants for like 8 years, never like formally trained. So you probably know all the proper shit, and I'm just like doing my thing. But I know enough to get the job done. But yeah, good to see you here. Welcome. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So while I was going to university, I didn't like. I don't know. Well, let me put it this way. While I was going to university to make some money, I just worked in kitchens on and off for about 8 years. Sometimes full time, sometimes part time. It depends. It kind of depended on my workload, I guess, the semester. But cooking looks familiar. Well, and that's actually the thing, because like when Shauna knew me, like for years, the context she knew me in was cooking, and then since then, having after moved away, that's like old me and is I don't know. It's like a part of my ancient history, but Shauna's not like super familiar with that gap in between, so like she'd be familiar with more old cooking me. But not to say I'm like some terribly different person or something. It's just yeah, occupationally, what I did was totally different. Um, so I worked as a a cook, chef, whatever you want to call it. I guess it's cook, chef means something rather specific. Uh, Ignore the stream title. I shouldn't be using that title. But anyway, you gotta like sell yourself on Twitch, right? Yeah, so I was cooking occupationally for about 8 years. I went to university as an archaeologist, and then I end up working as my job ends up being streaming. So I'm just all over the place. But in any case, what are we going to be doing today? So we're going to be doing making Mapo Tofu, which is just how I pronounce it. Again, that's the Japanese way of pronouncing what you guys might be more familiar with as Mapo Tofu. Um, Chinese food is kind of a thing in Japan. Much like, think of it this way. You know how you can get westernized Chinese food over here in North America? There's a similar thing in Japan where you get like Japaneseified Chinese food. It's probably closer to what the source material is than what you're gonna get over here. But it's definitely kind of like a Japanese influence sort of thing. So when I make Mapo Tofu, I feel like I'm something a bit more kind of I don't know. There is a distinction. I might be something halfway in between like Japaneseified Mapo Tofu and like authentic Mapo Tofu or Mapo Tofu. But I don't know. I've never really sat down and compared. I just well, no, I take two major cues from how I make Mapo Tofu. One was just like I ate it for years as a kid, and I never specifically asked my mom how she made it. But I can because I can cook. I more or less sort of figured out flavors, and I can like, oh yeah, I approximate this, do that, and then I came up with something. And then some years later, or I guess more recently, I looked up a few more other recipes, which I think were slightly more authentically Chinese. And then so I took some cues from that, and it's something like sort of halfway in between. Hello, Hot Apple Pies, welcome. Actually, one of the more recent videos I saw on it was by Chef. What is his name? Uh, who was it again? The Iron Chef Chinese guy. The Ting Kinch, yeah. And, and so of course he has some stuff that I don't really have access to. So I approximated some stuff and kind of made up some stuff that I can do on my own here. So yeah. Anyway, I already have the rice made. I'm not gonna make rice on stream because that's lame. And if you need to learn how to cook rice, well, maybe Mapo Tofu is something that shouldn't be attempted yet. I don't know. I just put it in a like I have a rice cooker over there. I'm not gonna turn the camera because it fucks up the angle. I don't want to mess with that. But anyway, let's get ourselves started here. Let's turn the heat on. Let's go to about medium. So I have to just I have an electric stove top here. It's set to 4. What does that mean for, you know, whatever stove you're using? Who knows? It's like, that's like medium-ish, probably on your average stove. All I know is like my stove is a 4, that's what works for me here. If I were to boil oil, that takes it up to about 300 degrees Fahrenheit, just to give you a rough idea. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my wok a little bit here. It's like a cast iron thing. I coat it in oil before, you know, after I'm done cleaning it and stuff, so it doesn't rust. I could leave the oil in there, it's not a huge deal. I just prefer to get it out of there. I'm just using the sink over there. I'm not going to scrub it or anything, I'm just going to rinse it out real quick. Hello, Cool Mick, welcome. So, I have most of the ingredients and stuff more or less prepared and ready to go here. Normally I actually don't bother doing that, but I am streaming, so I figured I'd set all the stuff up beforehand. Normally I just leave it in like the cupboards and like, oh shit, I need that, and I'll go run over and get it. So this is basically everything here except the stuff that should probably stay in the fridge. I'm going to leave it until I actually need it, like the pork, which I'm going to need first incidentally, so we'll grab that in just a moment. I'm going to get that all kind of heated up there, ready to go. I'll let the water just sort of dry out there so I don't have oil and water mixing in. Okay, so what oil am I going to be using today? Well, let's start with some ingredients that, in no particular order, just what's available here. Got some sake nihonshu. Have some miso paste. The deadly MSG, which will give you cancer and you'll die the instant you eat it. Chicken stock. Pepper. Chili flakes. Sesame oil, chili oil, soy sauce, salt, technically, ground ginger. I would use fresh ginger, I just don't have any on me, I forgot to buy some. I think that's it out of the spice container here. I'll be using 4 cloves of garlic. They're over here. They're the one thing I actually haven't really prepped at all. I'll chop them up while things are frying. It takes me like 30 seconds to dice up some garlic. A thing of tofu. It's like a brick of it. I'm just getting the meat. And 2 more sauces. Okay. What is this one? This is Pawnce. It's like a chili sauce. Black bean sauce. It's black bean and garlic sauce, so there'll be plenty of like garlic and salty flavors and stuff going in. So that's why I'm not going to use a ton of garlic. I really like garlic, incidentally. So I'm adding my own fresh garlic. Pub? No, you would not find this in the pub. No, I'm making Mapo Tofu today. Which reminds me, my bathrobe, the thing I'm normally streaming in, is right behind the camera there. I should probably take it out of the kitchen so it doesn't get infused with food smells. I'm going to throw my robe over there. Be right back. guess this is technically an ingredient. I got a bit of cornstarch. I have barely any left. This should just be just barely enough for what my purpose is here. And then I got to go out and get some more cornstarch. Or no, sorry, not cornstarch, potato starch. If that's not enough, I guess I have to substitute cornstarch, but I should have enough potato starch. All right. Kind of left that on there a little long because it's going to be a bit weird. I'm not used to talking while cooking. I'm just when I'm cooking, I'm just like doing my own thing or like not explaining. If I were to be cooking, in a kitchen, it'd be like yelling at someone. Like, hey, can I have this thing? Or don't stab me in the foot, or something. Don't need too much oil here. This is just regular canola oil. We're going to be getting a lot of grease and oil out of the pork in a minute here, so just enough to coat the wok. It's off camera, isn't it? It's also kind of a bit hard for me to tell what's on camera and what's not, so it's nothing too important going on here. Anyway, I just found out the other day. Never worked in the kitchen before. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know how. I guess I did that a few times. Yeah. It's been a while. All those kitchen memories are starting to fade a bit. But by the way, when I'm talking in this direction, can you guys hear me? That's actually, I just realized that's quite weird to me because normally I'm always facing the camera and talking, right? So when I'm like doing this, you guys okay? You can hear me? You can? Excellent, thank you. All right, what was I on? Oh yeah, canola oil. So this has nothing to do with the cooking at all, but I just learned recently that canola oil and like the canola plant is just like, it's the same thing as rapeseed oil. Like, you see rapeseed oil, except it's like a different strain on the same plant. I had no idea. Yeah, that's smoking too much. Again, this is not talking about, like I'm talking so much, it's just like the timing is totally off. So I'm going to let that cool a bit. I don't want like oil smoking all over the place. In the meantime, we can, actually why don't we, so the tofu actually has to be cooked, it doesn't have to be, but ideally to maintain a good texture, tofu should be sort of cooked slightly before it goes in there. So I don't want to cook the tofu now because it needs to basically be cooked and then thrown in immediately. So I'm just going to get a bit of water prepped on the back burner there. So I just keep it on super low heat so we have relatively warm water, ready to go whenever I need to. With just a tiny bit of salt. I've been told allegedly, or the thing I watched said allegedly just make it just ever so slightly salty. Not like super salty, but you can kind of taste the salt. I don't need to taste it because I can roughly gauge what that's going to be. That should be enough. But yeah, if you want to taste it yourself, just make sure it's not too salty. That's probably a good thing to do. Alright, so I turned the heat down actually a bit. Since again, the timing or the pace that I'm doing this at is a bit more slow. So let's go ahead and get our ground pork. This is a bit too much ground pork. So you see, nothing is precise here. Everything is just like, I mean, I'm doing this intentionally to emphasize the point that nothing needs to be, well, things generally don't need, there are things that do need to be precise, but a lot of cooking is not, you see these things where it's just like a person has the exact amount of measured whatever in a tiny little ramekin, and you add this exact amount, blah, blah, blah. I find that boring. Cooking should be exciting and new and wonderful flavors every time. So we're going to use 100 grams more pork than I normally would use because there's slightly more pork, and I don't want to save 100 grams of pork in the fridge because it's going to go bad and that'd be stupid and wasteful. Try not to use my hands too much because I might need to touch the camera, but I can always wash my hands. So whatever. Ideally, I would want a metal spoon thing to work with a wok. I don't actually own one at the moment. I should probably go out and buy one, but this plastic spoon will do. It's mildly concerning, maybe it'll melt, but it's never melted on me, we're good. So I'm just breaking up the pork right now. This will be left to sit and cook for quite some time, so I'll explain that in a minute once I've broken the pork up a bit. I do want to be a bit thorough about this. Like, it's more pork than I normally use, and it's not a terrible thing to have big pork chunks in your Mapo Tofu. It's just not ideal, you know. Why not have a good texture, right? Again, this would also be easier if I had a proper metal implement. Okay, almost done here. Alright, let's just evenly spread the pork out. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be kind of doing its thing for a while. Let me move this over here. We'll store it off camera. So this is going to take a little bit. Basically, it needs to cook to the point where, because there'll be a lot of like oil that'll come, or grease and stuff that comes out of the pork, right? So at a certain point, this is the key that I was explained to me in the video I watched. It was Iron Chef Chinese. He said basically you cook it to the point where if you listen closely, the oil cooking sort of sounds like, or the oil bubbling sounds like a campfire. And the other thing is when you scoop it up, the oil is very clear. So to get to that point, yeah, it'll look totally done. You know, there won't be any raw pork in there at that point. And then you sort of scoop up a bit of oil, you look at it, it'll be very evident that it's much clearer. There's not going to be any kind of cloudy crap floating around in here. So again, that's going to take a little bit, but we'll just leave that for the time being. I'm going to caught up with you guys in chat in the meantime. Hello, young trap god. Well, did I train you specifically? I don't think it took you that long to get trained, because you went off onto hot side real quick, didn't you? I just stayed on cold side because I didn't want to go over by that hot fryer. It was awful over there. Hey, Super Moose. Never had tofu. I was thinking about trying it. A friend said buy in a brick that's firm for good quality. I mean, there's firm and then there's soft. There's different kinds of tofu. If you want tofu, make sure you're having it in a proper, like, Asian style dish. Don't get the bizarre meat replacement approximation things. But basically, don't eat white people tofu dishes. What the Western world has done to tofu is one of the great culinary crimes. Just leave that to various Eastern traditions. Yeah, you went right over to hot side. I had no interest in going over to hot side. So normally I'd probably have the fan up going here, but that's really noisy. I don't want to have a noisy fan going on stream, so I hope it doesn't get too smoky in here. Yeah, and then basically until the meat is done, I don't add anything. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going in very rapidly after it's done. But until then, we can more or less just sort of relax and wait until the meat actually properly cooks. Keep breaking it up a bit. You know, I'm seeing a couple chunks that I missed in here. You want to properly break all the ground pork up. It'll cook more evenly, and just the texture will be much more pleasant later. Pleasant and uniform. Or perhaps it is pleasant because it is uniform. Now, I may as well talk about this now, but allegedly, proper restaurant Mapo Tofu would cook the meat and do a couple things with it, and then put it aside, and then mix it with another, all the like the tofu sauce thing later. I don't do that because that's a pain in the ass, and I'm not working in a restaurant right now. Doesn't like to, yeah, exactly. It has a bad reputation because it's like, I think there's this image of it being like a shitty meat replacement when that's not what it is. It's like its own thing. All right. All right, so in the meantime, we have like probably about 5 minutes until this is done, I guess. I'm going to quickly chop the garlic up off stream or off camera. It's down, like my cutting board is down here. I don't want to move the camera. It's dicing garlic. It's not interesting. I'll see you guys in a sec. I think this tofu can be pretty good. I mean, that's simple. It's like deep fried tofu, so. By the way, this is the knife that I recently just sharpened with my newly acquired whetstone. I think I was talking about this on stream the other day when I was making my mead. You guys can still hear me from down here, I assume, right? Because I'm talking kind of loud. Yeah, it is like legit, yeah, proper restaurant kitchen sharp now. So I gotta be careful with this thing. I can't like super lazily just kind of do, oh, whatever, I'm gonna cut things, you know, because I'll actually cut my finger off. Alright, almost done with garlic here. Just kind of dice it up a little bit further. Up. I should probably actually check to confirm that you guys can still hear me talking down here. I don't see why you wouldn't. I asked the question and it's probably been answered, and I haven't even looked. I'm assuming you guys can hear that like cutting board dicing sound. Perhaps you can even feel, like, see the vibration in the camera. I don't know. Oh yeah, fuck! I should have been draining the tofu. Not critical. So yeah, I'm gonna just go drain the tofu over here real quick. It's actually also better to have it draining and then press, like having basically be pressing it so you get most of the liquid out of it. I haven't done that. It's not a big deal. I mean, I made it both ways. I didn't notice a huge difference. time, I'm going to press it a bit. Put like a weight or something on here. Let's leave a plate on there, that's fine. Okay, so let's see, how are we doing? Let's do, I think it's going to take a little bit longer, but let's see how the pork oil is doing here, how clear it is. It's looking pretty cloudy still. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Yeah, I'm just kind of like tilting the wok so it's a kind of an angle, getting all the, yeah, no, that's still super cloudy. As I was saying earlier, I want the oil, the fat that comes out of the pork to just be totally clear. And that just sort of indicates that like the raw porky kind of smell has been eliminated. Kind of like off-gassing with my brewing, the home brewing. I was talking about how you got to stir things up to get the all the like the off gases out of the alcohol. Similar idea. Hello Eduardo. What's Mapo Tofu? Mapo Tofu is basically kind of a spicy, salty, garlicky, minced pork tofu dish. Probably a decent way of describing it. Chinese dish from Sichuan province and consists of tofu set in spicy sauce, typically a thin, oily, and bright red suspension based on dobanja and doch. I don't know what doch is. I don't think I'll be adding that. Well, unless that's like another word for black bean sauce. Minced meat, traditionally beef. Yeah, you can actually, yeah, I probably should have mentioned that. You can use beef as well. I actually prefer pork personally. But yeah, you could do beef, no problem. Actually, I'm not actually getting very much oil out of this this ground pork. I guess it was a more lean ground pork. I'm getting still enough where I can tell roughly. Yeah, I'm just getting barely enough here. It's getting close to done. A few more minutes and I think we should be good. And then I'm going to add stage 1 of the sauces. The sauces come in various stages. Actually, I'm going to add the garlic. Yeah. I do want the garlic to fry up a little bit, not too much. That's why I'm putting it in late, because if I put in the garlic early, it would scorch. And I hear people talk about how much they hate like a scorched garlic flavor. This is, again, total personal preference. I don't mind it, but I'm still going to put it in later. I realize I'm probably in the minority in terms of liking kind of a scorched garlic flavor. So, do you make it from scratch? Or I make it from scratch. Also, yeah, hello, Vampy Monster, welcome. Welcome to the cooking show. You're very hungry? Well, do you have any food in your house? I could just flip it the whole time. The thing is, I'm using that spoon because I'm still trying to break stuff up a little bit here. And, obviously I need to be able to, like I said, see how well, how far along the oil is. Like right there. There's a pork chunk there. I don't want that. You can also just press it up against the side. Yeah, this is a very, very lean ground pork. Getting so little in terms of oil. Actually, yeah, what little I can see down there is pretty clear. All right, let's go ahead and add the garlic. Again, the sauces I'm going to be using contain garlic as well. I like garlic. If you don't, well, maybe you shouldn't be eating Mapo Tofu. But you can also just not add extra garlic like I'm doing. That's fine. Yeah, the pork is starting to like scorch to the bottom here, so that's probably a pretty good sign as well. Not like a lot, it's just sticking a little bit. Alright, so we're just giving the garlic just a little bit of time to cook, not too much. Because the next step is, let's see now, I think it's the miso. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to add some miso paste here. So this is one of the things where it differentiates between what I do and what the Iron Chef Chinese does, because I don't have access to some of this pre-made stuff. So he'll use like this pre-made, in-house sweet soy thing. I don't have that. I'm not going to do it. You don't have it. You're not going to do it. Well, I don't know. Maybe Razira might. He's a professional chef, but I'm not going to. So the point is, I'm going to get about... Yeah, that ought to be enough. Hold on a sec. Yeah, tablespoon of miso paste. Miso. And then from here, let's get a bit of sugar. Normally I'd use the same spoon and just keep washing it over and over again, but I don't want to like take too much time doing shit like that. So let's bring a bit of sugar over here. So I'm making a sweet miso concoction of sorts. So it's 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2 tablespoons. That might seem like a lot of sugar, but it's the only source of, really the only source of sweetness in this whole dish. So 2 tablespoons. Alright. So this is just going to get mixed into the meat and actually scorch a bit. There's a term for, so basically if you're working in a kitchen, this, apparently this part here, I've never been in a kitchen that makes Mapo Tofu, personally. I just like making it for myself. This is the, kind of like the sweet miso ground meat portion that's made in prep, and it's all put to the side somewhere in a big vat, and then you add it to like the sauce stuff later. But of course, again, I'm not doing that, I'm just making it all at once. Yeah, so at this point, this has a very, very wonderful, well, miso smell. You guys know, like, you know, the smell of miso soup probably would be the most common context you might be familiar with it. That, but just like a lot stronger and sort of a sweetness to it. It's very nice. I'm almost actually tempted at a little bit more miso, but whatever, it's fine. Because like I have more pork than I normally would, right? Again, I'm using 500 grams instead of 400 grams because the pack said 500 grams in it, so. Again, you know, exact measurements, I mean, the exact measurements have a time and place, especially if you don't really know what you're doing. It's great to have proper measurements. But especially if you cook a lot, it can be, it's just sort of like, well, you know, you need this amount, roughly this amount. I know the flavor of this, and then you adjust as you go along. It's not the end of the world if things are slightly off, you know. It's got to be casual and fun and exploratory. I remember way back before I used to like cook in kitchens and stuff. I kind of just sort of taught myself to cook by, you know, I mean, I kind of paid attention, for example, when I was a kid, what my mom or something might be doing in the kitchen, and I can vaguely have recollections of that, but you know, just me mixing different sauces and having a rough idea what flavors are and going, well, what happens if I mix this and this? And you know, generally speaking, I think I was more successful than not, but it's a good basis for things, you know. Because once you understand how flavors work and what goes together and what proportions roughly work with blah, 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 then you can, you know, that gives you the freedom to just sort of do whatever the hell you want later on. And get creative. Okay, so what the hell do I do next? Oh yeah, next is the sake shoyu, okay, this part. Alright, so I'm going to mix in some sake. I have a tiny bit left. I think I actually I'm going to use all of this. This is nigorizake. This is not normally what you cook with, but again, it's what I have. It's from Japan, and it'll work. I'm actually going to save this bottle. This will be really good for putting my homebrew wine and stuff in. Alright, so again, that wasn't a particularly precise proportion. It was just like, you know, well, that's about how much I usually use. I'm going to put a amount of soy sauce in. It's not that much. You saw me just go blah, blah, blah. That's going to be roughly how much I need. If the flavors are off later, I can either add more or add something else to cancel it out. So I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. Normally I wouldn't, but I'm cooking a bit slower today because we're having a conversation, right? Let's add some pepper at this point, some ground black pepper. Yeah, I don't have my own pepper grinding thing at the moment. I did it the other place I lived. I don't know where it went. I guess I should buy another one. Let's do the ginger now. So again, I don't have, this is what I mean, you know, you just approximate what we have. It doesn't, things don't need to be precise. Normally I'd use, you know, freshly chopped up bits of ginger. I don't have that at the moment. Ground ginger will do the trick. It gets the flavor I want. If I had to put that into an amount, well, let's add a little bit more. I like ginger as well. So if I had to put that into amount, that's maybe a, what was that, a teaspoon-ish? Okay, now let's start turning the water up on the back burner here, because I'm going to need boiling water very soon for the tofu. Where's my tofu? It's over there, this thing. Okay, next let's do the pawnce and chili pepper. So chili pepper and chili flakes are easy. Let's just go. This stuff is actually really spicy. I don't know why, but the stupid Kirkland brand, well, it's not stupid, it's good. Kirkland brand crushed red pepper from Costco is surprisingly spicy. I don't know why, it just is. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's more than enough. I like my food spicy. Pawnce. So this is, pawnce is like, well, I mean, this is, I think this is pawnce. Yeah, this is pawnce. It's just, in English, it's called chili bean sauce. You might recognize this. You can probably find this in grocery stores, at least something like this. It's, yeah, like a chili bean sauce. All right, let's go with, like I said, I like spicy. Let's go with yeah, relatively heaping tablespoon. That's more or less good-ish. Okay, so we're gonna go. That's rye and chili on it. So I'm gonna wash this spoon off because I'm gonna need it again, and I'm running out of spoons. Just washing the spoon off stream, nothing too exciting. Okay, let's see now, let's see now, let's go, do I have enough oil left in this thing? Yeah, this is enough oil. This is my old sesame oil. Sesame oil is actually quite powerful. You don't want to like use too much of it. So I got some chili oil that's here as well here. Now, if you're wondering what kind of oil specifically this is the thing we were talking about earlier. This is that rapeseed oil stuff, except it's got a bunch of chili mixed in with it. And let's go, that's about maybe a teaspoon. No, fuck it, let's go a full tablespoon. Chili oil is great. I can get the lid back on. Oh, that's the wrong lid. No wonder it wasn't fitting. Got too much going on here. Alright, go ahead and mix that all in there. So that's chili oil. Shortly we'll be adding chicken stock. Now, the timing with the tofu is not going to be perfect. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to, so again, just to show you guys, timing isn't, you know, the most crucial. Well, in this case, it's not, you know, the most important thing in the world. We can just, if one thing is not caught up to the other thing, we can just take it off the burner. You know, it's no problem. We can rest a bit. Ideally, you know, yeah, you'd like everything to work out, but let's say, you know, I'm talking to you guys, right? So we're having a bit of a conversation. I'm explaining what's going on. Imagine you're trying to cook while you're on the phone or something. So that's the analog. You know, your things get thrown off a little bit. Well, you know, just take it off the burner. You're probably fine. Unless it's something specific that has to be done very, very specifically. Then maybe, you know, you tell your friend on the phone to shut the fuck up, I'm busy, and then you know you got to time things. But you know, most things like this, it's timing. It's fine. You can make the timing work. I'm gonna wash my hands. The other thing is, this is also allowing time for my tofu to drain in the sink. So anyway, what are you guys up to here? Yeah, I can look at chat. So I'm looking at it now. I just got to turn around. Yeah, no, let's not talk about League. You're going to ruin the food. The cool uncle? What? Who's the uncle? Is chat the uncle or am I the uncle? Okay, water's almost boiling here. Yeah, I forgot the back burner is actually a bit slow compared to the front one. I don't know what it is, but where the hell is my tolbunja? What did I do with it? All right. Okay, so I don't need the tolbunja anymore. So I'm gonna put this away. Into the fridge you go. When do I put the ajinomoto in? I think I can put. I'll put that in at the end. Okay, miso paste we definitely don't need, so we can start cleaning up. That's the other thing too, you know, while you're cleaning, it makes it easier, or while you're cooking, you can also clean up as well. Especially if you're not streaming, you can also like do dishes and wash pots and stuff while something's going, so after you're done eating, you have to deal with it. So, you know, multitasking. Alright, so the water's going, we should be good for putting the tofu in there momentarily. Alright, so let's bring, what is, I guess technically, it gets overshadowed by the meat a bit, but technically the star of Mapo Tofu is the tofu. So, I actually kind of do want to show you guys this on camera, but I don't want to turn my camera, you know, this is a new setup. But basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting it into chunks, where it's like, I'm going to cut it in half once down the middle like that, and then from there I'll cut it into probably 3s and then 4s, I guess. I want relatively large squares. So maybe let's wash the garlic off this knife. Not a big deal if garlic gets in there, but you know. Alright. So I have 2 even tofu sheets now. You just have to imagine that. And I'll cut this into 3s. There we go. You don't want the tofu chunks too small. I mean, I'll show you guys the size of the chunks when I'm done in a second here, but they aren't the sturdiest things in the universe, so. Okay, so here's an example. This is the rough size that I want each tofu cube to be in. I'm going to put it next to my face, so for scale, I guess. I don't know. There you go. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump this stuff into the boiling water over here, which again has a little bit of salt in it. It's not going to take too long in there. That's why I don't mind doing this all at the last second here. Just a few minutes, I'll do the trick. Splash yourself with boiling water. It's all good when you cook it like in a professional capacity for years. So, see, my sensitivity has gone back to normal-ish, but yeah, if you cook long enough, you lose all sensitivity to like burning things. Well, not all sensitivity, but it's just like your fingers just go numb. Boiling, getting boiling water all over you is like, oh, I seem to have splashed hot oil on my arm. How unfortunate. Okay, so like I said, this doesn't need to stay in that long. I don't have a precise timing for you guys. I go on it based off of visual. It's basically when the tofu starts dancing, which might not be a particularly good description, but maybe I can bring it over here and show you guys. Well, I don't know, can you guys even see the tofu back there? You sort of can. But it'll start like wiggling and dancing a lot in the boiling water. It doesn't take long at all. It's just to firm it up and it's for good texture, which reminds me, that actually is time sensitive, so I'm going to get back on this. Alright, I need a container of some description. It doesn't really matter what it is. Let's go ahead and use a measuring cup. That should be useful. So, we're going to take it doesn't have to be a measuring cup, any kind of vessel, but this is actually useful because for the first time I guess we'll end up taking a proper measurement here, and I'll be measuring this for the first time in my life because I don't want to bother. We're going to take an amount of chicken stock. Again, I'm just eyeballing how much I need here. I don't have a precise measurement for you guys. Looking at it for the sake of measurements, what does that seem like? A tablespoon? It's probably about a tablespoon. What's that? So, looks like that's about a cup and a half. Why don't I mix it up a little bit? Oh no, it's up to 2 cups now. How'd that happen? Alright, 2 cups of chicken stock here. Of course, this if it needs to be adjusted, I can always add more liquid, so that's not a problem. I'm not super concerned at the moment. I might actually add a bit more liquid than I normally would, simply because I'm dealing with more pork, like I said. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and add the black bean sauce now. Let's do that now. Where is my spoon? Alright, I like black bean sauce, so we're going to add a heaping tablespoon. This is the last time I'm going to use the spoon, so I'm just going to get it in here so I get all the sauce off of there properly. Because black bean sauce is tasty. Black bean and garlic sauce to be precise. Alright, get that all mixed up in there. Okay, I think the tofu's fine. Just like I said, I don't want to overboil this stuff. I'm just straining it over the sink here and getting rid of the boiling water. You don't need it. Okay. And now I dump it in here. And like I said, this is the time-sensitive portion, or was the time-sensitive portion of all of this. The tofu, after it's done boiling and I get that kind of firm consistency of it, needs to go in immediately after it's done. I can't leave it sitting around, otherwise the texture gets messed up. Once it's in here, it's fine. We're all good, because it's now in like a cooking broth again. Alright, so tofu is a rather delicate substance. I need to obviously mix it around and stuff like that, but I don't want to do it too big, because when it was just me, I was, hammering at it and I was like doing whatever I wanted in the wok. Now it's actually a very gentle kind of pushing process. So for the most part, I'm not going to not stop scraping like this backwards. But it's going to be a lot of this sort of pushing motion on the it's a convex, yeah, it's convex. The convex side of the spoon here, I'm going to be mostly, when I want to mix, I'm going to be pushing like this so I don't like hook things and tear the tofu apart. As you can see, I am pulling back occasionally. Maybe you guys can see, I don't know, I'm not really sure how much you guys can see on the camera, but most of the stirring action is just me kind of gently pushing it so I don't break too much stuff. Alright, I'm getting caught up with chat. We have a moment here. Oh, someone got a gift sub? Who sent out a gift sub? Whoever sent whatever, thank you. Sorry, I can't see right now. Did you guys catch who that was? Or was that maybe another day? So then this gives all the flavor? Oh, Thorindos, you did. Well, thank you very much. I'll figure out what you did afterwards. I do appreciate it, so thank you very much. And congratulations everyone who got a subscription. So what are you asking about the flavor? Alright, and at this point I'm going to add... See, if you're like a paranoid person who is convinced MSG is out to murder you and your parents and will burn down your village and slaughter your crops or whatever, don't add this. I've grown up eating this shit, so I'm just gonna get like a pinch, just a literal pinch. And that'll go in there like that. So I'm going to take a taste of this pretty soon here, and then I can do some adjusting, because I don't think I really need to add anything else to it. I might add a bit more salt and pepper, but there will be a chili oil finish at the end. Okay, so before I do anything, I'm going to add like a tiny bit more salt, because I have this intuition that it maybe needs a little bit more salt. Okay, that'll do the trick. And just a tiny bit of black pepper, and by tiny bit I mean, I guess, a reasonable amount. There we go. Okay, I'm going to gently stir this around without busting the tofu up too much. And by too much I mean preferably not at all. See, I'm being pretty careful here, and already there's like a few tiny like sort of tofu flakes that have come off the edge of a few things. So that's just inevitable. You can't really avoid that. It's just you want to mitigate that as much as possible. I mean, you probably could totally avoid it if you were, I don't know, Iron Chef Chinese or whatever, but I don't mind if you. So let's try the sauce here. Normally if I wasn't streaming, I probably would have been tasting it more as it went along, but I was so busy talking that my mouth was busy, so I couldn't eat. Well, it's actually pretty spicy. The black bean is actually stronger than my last batch. I like that. See, that's one of the reasons. That's what I was talking about. I don't like once I get something that, let's say, I am so satisfied with, maybe I'll write down the proportion or something. But that's why I'm fine with just doing things kind of pretty ad hoc and roughly what I did last time kind of thing, because I can remember what I did. Because, yeah, this has a slightly different flavor from the last time I made this, and it's just kind of an exciting thing every time. Things will get boring if you just have like literally the same flavor over and over again. I don't think I'm actually going to add anything to this. I think I like the way it is. I'm going to take a quick, let's get a bit of meat and tofu and sauce all in here. It's quite hot, so. Yeah, no, I'm good with this. I'm totally cool with this flavor. Do I have the recipe? I have roughly. Oh, like the hat thing? Yeah, in Naaman places you'll see people wearing these. Okay, so now what I need is potato starch water. I'm just gonna do this off camera really quickly. I'm just dumping potato starch in my cup. That should be enough. If it's not, I'll have to use some more cornstarch. Tasting. I got the chili in my throat there. It's good, but well, I mean, getting in your throat's not good. So I'm gonna spoon the the potato starch water in little bit by little bit. Don't just dump it all in at once. Judging by the amount, I might need to resort to the cornstarch. I don't really want to, but I'm very, very low on potato starch. And by very low, I mean I literally just use the last of it. But I don't know, consistency is actually shaping up pretty nicely here. I don't want it too watery, you know. It needs to have some substance to it. I don't know what to compare the consistency to. Like kind of like almost a thick stew, as opposed to just like a watery sauce. Maybe not even a thick stew, but. Every time I pour it back in and mix it back up, because the potato starch will separate from the water in the bottom of this thing. So if you're just pouring in water that doesn't have the potato starch in it, it's pointless. This might barely be enough. And if it's slightly more on the watery side, well, you know, that's not bad either. It's all a continuum. You can have slightly more solid gelatinous Mapo Tofu, and you can have slightly more watery Mapo Tofu. I imagine, you know, according to some expert somewhere, there is like a sweet spot where this is exactly perfect, but this is actually looking pretty good consistency-wise. By the way, in terms of ingredients, this is much more on the simpler side too. This is just meat, aside from the sauces obviously, this is meat and tofu. You could add all kinds of other things in here, like various kinds of mushrooms or bamboo shoots, and I'll be putting actually green onions in here in a bit, but that comes at the end. Green onions do not really need cooking time. They just maybe, you know, it's not bad if they get heated up a bit, but I don't know, do I even want to add this last little bit of water? How is the consistency? You know what? This will thicken up on its own. I'm content with this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to finish things up with a bit of chili oil at the end. See, this is one of those things where I don't know why you add a bit of chili oil at the end. I was told by Iron Chef Chinese to just add a bit of chili oil at the end after you're done, like, thickening things up, and it improves something. And I'm like, all right, you know, you probably earned the right for just to say things and be like, all right, it's probably a good idea. I like spicy. I like chili oil. Works for me. Alright, so it doesn't need to be like totally mixed in. So that is good there. Let me just move. And then I need the green onions. So this is one of the other few things that I've actually pre-prepped. Green onions. I chopped up like 4 bunches of green onions and froze them all, and they can be used at any time now. So it's just like a big mass of green onions at this point. I gotta be a bit careful. I gotta put it down. Some green onions in there. I gotta put quite a bit in there because I like green onions. And you know, that's how I cook. You know, I like an ingredient, so it's gonna get a bunch of it. Blank recipe says, you know, add half a cup or whatever. You know, if you think the flavor would be improved because you're the one eating it by adding a full cup, add a full cup. And then if it sucks, you know for next time, just don't add the full cup and go with the actual, you know, recipe. But that's the benefit of cooking for yourself and, you know, small groups. You can absolutely tailor taste. Never, well, I mean, I guess you can give up your creativity and just do whatever, but, you know, then it's no fun. So. Alright, so, oh, I've since turned the heat off, by the way. You probably saw me. So we're just going to mix that in. You know, green onions don't really need to cook. Like they're cooking slightly in here with the residual heat. Let me go ahead and, I don't know, for the time being, get that out of the way. Alright, and there you have it. I'm done. Let me just clean something off the floor here because I dropped 2 green onions. We don't want green onions on the floor. Well, I made it sound like that's some terrible thing to have green onions. I don't want green onions on the floor, so we're going to get them off there. Alright, so I think I can, wait, I didn't grab my hands on there. Alright, so there you have it. Mapo tofu. I don't know if you guys, well, I can bring it over. I don't want to move the camera. But that is what we have here in our wok. How can I show it off best? There you go. It's not the prettiest dish in the universe, but damn, is this stuff tasty. I'm going to leave this for, I could eat it now. I'll leave it just sitting, just kind of let the flavors come together for a bit, for just a few minutes. It's probably not going to make a huge difference, but it makes me feel better about it. Yeah. And I also have, yeah, that's the thing. I don't have Ziploc bags in my house right now. All I had was these takeout plastic containers, so they went in there. Actually, when do I? I might have a couple Ziploc. I'm just actually look out of curiosity. Yeah, no, actually, I ran out of Ziploc bags. Okay. Some sort of shock the blind side in icy cold water. Oh yeah, yeah. Like with green stuff. Yeah. I do that with green beans. What else do I do that with? Mainly green beans. That's what comes to mind immediately. Gets a nice color out of them. Also stops them from cooking. Okay. So I'm going to not eat a full meal on. I'm not going to sit here just shoveling rice and shit into my face. But I'll sample a bit in a minute here when I'm good to go. and I'll give you guys, maybe try and describe the flavor as best I can. As I said, I do have rice over there. That was done off stream because cooking rice and cleaning rice and putting it into a rice cooker is boring and not great streaming. But I don't know, like I said, do you guys want to discuss anything? Whether it has to do with what was just produced or otherwise. I'll be back in 30 seconds. See you guys in, 30 seconds. I should do more. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you. I'm considering, yeah, I might do that. I do have the capability of doing it now. I have like a selfie stick that I can tape to a chair and a camera that I can actually record stuff with, but. Steve 19, I have no idea who that is. Yeah, no, I mean, it seems like people enjoy these. I'd be more than up for doing. I'd have to figure out. You know what? I could. Hold on a second. I have an ingredient here. This is getting old. I should cook this ASAP. You guys want to watch me cook this? Not today, but at some point. A kabocha. Erroneously called kabocha squash because kabocha just means squash. So when you say that, you're saying squash squash. I can make kabocha no nimono. So like a what's it called? A dashi. So like was it bonito fish broth based simmered squash dish. It's good. I guess the one problem with that would be is it's a lot of it just it's like you prep it and then it simmers in a pot for a while. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll see. Military ration packs and taco. I might have actually. I mean, I've seen military ration consumption YouTube videos, so I don't know. Maybe. Go Asian market or get mostly local grocery store stuff. Me, let's see now. What all came? I go to. Well, it's a mix of both. Some of the stuff comes from an Asian grocery store. I don't know how much of you can get at a normal grocery store. I know the black bean sauce did. The tobanja came from an Asian grocery store. The chili oil came from an Asian grocery store, and I guess that's about it. Everything else is pretty easily available. Yeah, your mileage may vary depending on where you live. Some of it you might find in a regular grocery store. For example, like that chili bean sauce, the tobanja. That sounds a bit exotic, but I'm pretty sure you can find that in a regular grocery store. Usually. Kind of like a gravy. It's a bit, yeah. The consistency is a bit gravy-like. It's hard to convey consistency over a stream, I guess. It's not like super thick. It's not like a super thick gravy, but it's not watery exactly either. It's kind of somewhere in between. You would donation thing? I'd be happy to help. Well, Eduardo, I do appreciate the sentiment there. I don't know what I would need specifically in terms of cooking gear. I'd have to think about that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff technically missing from this kitchen, but I get by and I can make pretty much whatever I want with what I have. I just have to maybe in some cases get creative. Pumpkin katsu? I don't think I've ever had that. Black bean, yeah, it's got a very strong flavor. One tablespoon went in that, like that whole wok there, and it's probably the strongest flavor. Indian pumpkin. I'm not familiar with Indian pumpkin. I mean, if I looked at it, maybe I would like, oh, that one. But off the top of my head, I'm not sure what that is. Ever cooked with gochujang? I don't know what that is, so probably not. Nice little compact stove here. Usually it's filthy. I actually washed it specifically because I'd be streaming today. All right, let's go take a small sample of the food here. All right, so I just got kind of like half a bowl of rice. Just gonna dump it directly on there. I actually ended up getting a bit more than I thought. Perhaps I did that subconsciously, I'm not sure. All right, let's go ahead and get a spoon here. So, where is it? For, aesthetics, ideally I should be eating this with like linge, which is, one of those, those white, I think they're normally made of porcelain spoons, Chinese ones. Those are kind of a pain in the ass to eat with in a small bowl like this, especially the one I have. It's really thick. But I'm just gonna taste the Mapo Tofu without adding anything first. We'll talk about what I can add in a minute. It's quite hot, so. Tofu especially retains heat, so I don't want to burn myself. Let me get a bit more. This is good. Compared to the last time I made it a couple weeks ago, I'm gonna say it's maybe slightly spicier. And actually, ultimately, yeah, I guess simply because there's 100 grams more pork in here, the meat flavor comes through more. But that kind of like the baseline black bean and spicy chili flavor and all that stuff is coming through still very nicely. It's see, the thing is, there's more of this, so I can eat more of it, which is good. I think I slightly prefer the less meat version where the flavor of the sauces was coming through a bit more. I could have adjusted it, I guess, and added a bit more sauce, but this, don't get me wrong, this is still great. I'm really liking this. I'm just gonna, just comparing. Again, it's kind of coming into that whole thing. You change things up a little bit, you get an idea of what each ingredient does to not just the recipe in question, but what it can do overall. So I'm always thinking about that kind of thing. This is still fantastic though. The thing is, I don't know what else to compare Mapo Tofu to. Normally it'd be like, oh, this kind of tastes like black, this tastes like black. Is there anyone in here who eats Mapo Tofu that can compare it to another dish? I can't really think of anything. It's very Chinese in its flavor profile, but that doesn't help. Man, I just want to turn the stream off and eat this thing, like the whole thing. I don't want to pig out or anything. One more thing. This, even though I'm very, I really like the flavor, this could theoretically enhance it even further. Shijimi togashi. This is, that would literally translate into, shijimi togashi, 7 flavor chili, basically. It's a combination of chilies and spices and stuff. It makes things even more spicy. It's really good on Mapo Tofu. It's nice on some ramens. Any kind of, like, a lot of noodle dishes it's good on. What else do I put this on? I don't know, it's just good. So I'm gonna just sprinkle a little bit on here. just for one bite's worth. Because I haven't decided whether or not I prefer it with or without the togarash. Well, you just buy, yeah, shimi togarash is great. It's still hot temperature. I think I like it with the togarash. I'm gonna probably put more of it on there. Name again? Shimi togarash. The spelling would be like Shimi. Oh no, sorry, no, that's not right at all. Shimi. Wait, Garashshi. Something like that. Will there be more cooking streams? Probably. I like doing this. I have another idea. So this is the homebrew wine. You guys might remember my. For those of you guys who were tuned in yesterday, this is the wine that I brewed and bottled. It was finally finished yesterday. I'm going to see how this is with. Excuse me, I'm trying to eat and talk. It's like difficult. I'm going to see how this tastes with Mapo Tofu. It probably doesn't pair great, but I'm a bit curious. It's kind of a sweet wine paired with a spicy meat dish. I don't know. SI. I mean, if you type something like that in, you'll get it. Like Google will fix it for you. Hold on. Well, one sec. I'm gonna get something, and then. Okay, so I'm gonna take a bite of the Mapo Tofu. Good. I'm gonna try it with the wine. You know what? That actually works. What a happy coincidence. The wine I made yesterday actually pairs well with Mapo Tofu. I wasn't expecting that. It's because like it's so that's sweet spicy contrast or a spicy salty dish paired with sweet wine kind of seems. I'm not like a pairing wine with blank kind of guy, so I don't know this shit. To me, that actually tastes quite nice. Also, all time, thank you very much for the tier 3 subscription, 76 months. I'd give you some Mapo Tofu if you like, but I can't teleport objects. But thanks for hanging out, and thanks for your continued support of the channel. How many beverages have I brewed so far? 3 finished, 1 almost done, so a 4th, and then there's a 5th in the works, which I just started yesterday. You love some? Well, have you ever had Mapo Tofu before, out of curiosity? It's not, Mapo Tofu is not exactly the rarest of cuisines in the world, but at the same time, I can see a lot of people having not had it either. It's not like, it's not like hamburger level commonality or popularity. So, all right, let me start by maybe putting some of these things away that should go into the fridge. Does anything have to go in the fridge? Not really. Like this sauce at most. Honestly, I don't even think black bean sauce needs to go in the fridge. I just keep it in the fridge. Tweak the ingredients? I could do that, yeah. Okra, yeah. There are a lot of Japanese foods with okra in them. Not like a ton, but yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, it's a commonish ingredient. I've been some that fits the description, but I don't know this was the name. Yeah, if you had like tofu in like a meat sauce thing that was spicy, it was probably Mapo Tofu, but it's not guaranteed, Yeah, tweeting the ingredients, that's a pretty good idea. I can go ahead and do that, yeah. Egg drop soup. Oh, you're talking about like ingredients that are kind of similar-ish? Yeah, if it's got tofu in there. Yeah, I guess the consistency is sort of similar, ish. Like not exactly, but again, it's all relative too. All right, let me get this chili spoon out of here. Shuffle some ingredients around. All right, I think that's probably going to do it. I don't really want to play a video game. Does anyone know what time it is and how long I've been streaming? Incidentally, I can't tell any of this stuff because I'm just on my phone here. What soy sauce? Something pretty generic. Oh yeah, standard. Kikomo. Find that anywhere. I guess I can put this. Let me put the spices away. Oh, by the way, before I turn the stream on today, I did put the spices in the metheglin, the spice mead. So yeah, the cinnamon, the allspice berries, and the cloves are now in the brew. So it's properly spicing over there. Oh, hey, Rudy, how you doing? It's 9:30. Okay, how long? That means, oh, an hour and a half streaming. Okay. And I know it doesn't take me that long to make Mapo Tofu, but it's an interesting process. Streaming while cooking. Never done that before. But I'll probably do it again. I enjoyed this. Strong Zero. No, I know of Strong Zero, but I've never had it. So 11:30 would be that's Eastern Standard Time, wouldn't it be? Well, yeah. I don't. All right. Well, I'm probably just gonna round this out and go and actually eat because I'm hungry. So unless there's anything else. Bibber, hello. Again, I'm totally cool sticking around if anyone wants to talk about anything. I got any questions? Like, I can eat whenever. It's not like I'll die if I wait 10 more minutes. So if you guys got any questions, anything you want to talk about, that's cool too. But... One second. Oh, hey, Vincent. Thank you very much for the 42 months. Very much appreciated. Good to see you. I know like I'm streaming at times that you're not able to tune in as much. So hopefully that's going to change soon. I'm going to try and I keep saying this. I'm going to try and stream tomorrow morning because I think I'm going to get access to a new game, but we'll see. Early access to be precise. This is actually my old chef's jacket. This is what I used to work in. So now the apron, which you guys can't really see, is totally just. I tied a towel to my waist. I mean, this is also the thing I used to work in too. I used to do this to like cover my hair up. and my hair is tied back. Normally it's not, but you know, for chefy things I would. But yeah, no, this is a actual proper chef's coat. We had to buy them to work in the last kitchen I worked at. But have a second. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Cook night. Well, I'm glad Storm Lies would look appetizing to you. Used to watch all the time. Dad now, so I can only watch stream this late. Well, congratulations on the family, but oh, we got bots in at the last second. Uh, but yeah, no, I do appreciate you tuning in. Well, you know, with your limited amount of time. Yeah, I got the spam. Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm not gonna probably cook a noodle. Well, it depends on the noodle dish, but certainly if it was a noodle dish and soup, I probably wouldn't stream that. Or if I did stream it, I would eat it on stream. And you guys get to like listen to the loud slurping noise because that's how you're supposed to eat noodles, at least in Japan anyway. Ramen is supposed to be consumed very loudly, like kind of thing. What do you think of new league changes? Which changes? Is that where all the the spam is coming from? One website? But that they advise you what to build. Oh, you mean like their store shit? If you're talking about their new store, I don't like their new store. I think it's clunky and shitty. Favorite to cook gyoza? Do you make your own sauce? Actually, kind of funny you mention that. I had frozen gyoza the other day because it's easy. Sauce, yes. An easy and tasty gyoza sauce is, I can't give you the proportions. Again, I just eyeball it and, you know, whatever. But soy sauce, like a white vinegar. I don't actually have any like normal vinegar. So I use rice vinegar, which doesn't work as well, but it kind of gets the job done. Chili oil, which I have over there, and a little bit of sesame oil. Very simple. It's very tasty though. I prefer it more heavy on the vinegar flavor, which again, unfortunately, I don't have normal vinegar. So I add more vinegar than probably an average person would mix into their sauce. But that's, you know, those ingredients mix and match according to your own taste in terms of proportions. Now, in terms of cooking gyoza, simple pan fry is probably. Deep frying stuff is a pain in the ass because then you got to deal with the oil afterwards. So yeah, just basic pan fry gyoza. Get a bit of oil on the frying pan or the wok or whatever the hell you're using. Place the gyoza down the middle. Let it just kind of fry in there for a while. Dump some water in. A little bit of water. Don't really want it submerged. And then put the lid on so it like fries and steams. It's like a half kind of thing. Oh, I like meating. I just like meating in specific things. If I'm making gyoza sauce, then like a sauce with the gyoza, then I prefer regular vinegar. Doesn't heat enough for a wok. That sounds like a terrible stove. A really terrible stove. All right, but in that case, or on that note, I'm gonna get going. Odd flavor, I probably used. Well, that's the thing. Meating. Okay, I'm not going yet. We'll talk about this. Yeah, meating goes in very specific things, and there's different types of meatings too. There's like a sweeter meating, and then there's like a more sour kind of meating. So it's relative as well. Honestly, I very rarely use meat in anything other than like making um, like a sweet soy sauce. That's primarily what I use it in. Meating goes in, yeah, there's a specific kind of meating you use in sushi rice. I don't make sushi, so I have no cause to own this, but mystical, you like my chef's coat? Yeah, I haven't, I mean, I have worn it periodically since I stopped working, but realistically, I haven't worn this very much in about 10 years because I haven't worked in a kitchen in 10 years. But anyway, okay. On that note, I'm gonna go because I want to eat now. So thanks for hanging out, guys. I had a lot of fun doing this cooking stream. I'll do it again. No ETA on when or what I'll be cooking. I'll come up with something that works with the streaming format. You know, some things you can cook but are not great for streaming because there's a lot of sitting around and watching boiling and stuff like that. So something that's very active, something that's maybe interesting. Nothing too weird and gonna keep me too busy. Something that strikes a nice balance of I can be doing it and talking to you guys, and I don't have to like micromanage stuff, but also at the same time, yeah, not like super inactive where it's water boils for 20 minutes and we throw a thing in and that's it. I used to work in kitchens on and off for about 8 years while I was going through university. So that used to be my thing before I was a streamer. But yeah, thanks for hanging out once again. I'll see you guys. Oh, tomorrow I might be streaming a new early access game. I might be given, I think I have been given access by Ubisoft, so that should be fun. The game looks interesting. That's all right. That's the thing to consider. Yeah, just kind of like let you guys know what I'm planning. But then again, I rarely plan stuff that far. So I wasn't intending even on doing this today. I just kind of like basically sat down on my computer and was like, you know what, I'd rather stream cooking today, and that's why we're doing this. So, but we'll see, we'll see. Mrs. Cool, yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Goodbye. I'm gonna go host up Nine Bun Bun. She's cool. See you guys later.